Greetings, Africa. Welcome to another installment of the Uprising Feed. This is the segment where I will be giving you guys local, continental, and international news. I am your anchor, Mbali Ntuli. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the notification button, and follow us across all our social media platforms at One Africa Radio TV. Deputy Minister of Police Polly Boshielo condemned the increase in gender-based violence in the country, stating that the suspects in the murder of 30-year-old Olorato Mogale had been linked to 22 other cases targeting women. Boshielo was speaking during the funeral service held for the slain Mogale in Bloemfontein in the Free State on Sunday. Mogale, who was living in Johannesburg, was found murdered after going on a date last Sunday. Last week, police named 3 suspects linked to Mogale's murder onto Sudan. Newly appointed Sudanese Prime Minister Camille Idris has urged countries supporting the Rapid Support Forces to cease criminal operations. Sudanese national security and state authority are completely upheld by eliminating the rebellion and all forms of segregate militias, urging countries that support these militants to completely cease these criminal operations and targeting countries that plan, finance, and cooperate in their execution. He said in this address in the Port Sudan on Sunday. Separately, Idris said he hopes to serve the nation and the Sudanese people with the utmost sincerity and dedication. Sudan's government has accused the UAE and neighboring African states, including Chad, Libya, and South Sudan, of supporting the RSF throughout the conflict. Sudan plunged into civil war on April 15, 2023, when simmering tensions between the military and the RSF exploded into open warfare in the capital Khartoum and other parts of the country. At least 24,000 people have been reported killed, though the number is likely far high. On to Nigeria. Torrents of pre-dawn rain unleashed flooding that killed at least 200 people in a market town where northern Nigerian farmers sell their wares to traders from the south. The Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency did not immediately say how much rain fell after midnight on Thursday in the town of Mokwa, which sits in the state of Niger, more than 180 miles, which is 300 kilometers west of Abuja, the capital of Africa's most populous nation. Communities in northern Nigeria have been experiencing prolonged dry spells, worsened by climate change and excessive rainfall that leads to severe flooding during the brief wet season. In videos and photos on social media, floodwaters covered neighborhoods and homes were submerged with their roofs barely visible above the brown currents. Waist deep in water, residents tried to salvage what they could or rescue others. On to Gabon. Gabon is set to stop exporting raw manganese by 2029 as part of a national strategy to boost local industry and reduce dependency on unprocessed resource exports. The government announced the move as part of efforts to transform its economy. Manganese, along oil and timber, is one of Gabon's top revenue sources. The country is currently the world's second largest producer of the mineral. By halting raw exports, Gabon aims to develop its domestic processing capacity, create skilled jobs, and retain more value from its natural resources. Officials have given the industry 3 years to invest in local transformation facility. A public-private investment fund is also being planned to support the transition. In a similar move, the government will ban chicken meat imports from 2027 to encourage local poultry production. Despite being one of Africa's wealthiest nations per capita, a significant portion of Gabon's population continues to live in poverty. On to Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast political opposition and alliance of parties known as the Coalition for a Peaceful Alternation called on Saturday for political dialogue with the ruling party Rally of the Republicans, also known as RDR, 5 months ahead of the presidential election. Opposition leaders denounced President Alassane Ouattara's potential candidacy as well as the exclusion of several political figures from the electoral list, including banker Dejane Thiam, former chief executive officer of Swiss Bank Credit Suisse. To allow the candidacy of all political leaders, the country's former First Lady Simone Gbagbo asked President Ouattara to take his pen to write an amnesty law that will erase everything. In Paris, Dejane Thiam, president of the coalition and the PDCI, the main opposition party, projected a video onto big screens. In the video, he said that, I quote, "Justice must not be instrumentalized," and called for a revision of the electoral lists before the election. The mother of a pro-democracy activist imprisoned in Egypt is seriously ill in a London hospital. Leila Schön was admitted to St. Thomas's Hospital on Thursday with a very low blood sugar levels. The bottom line is we are losing her, her daughter mentioned outside the hospital. She also added that the current Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, needs to act now. Not tomorrow, not Monday, now, right now. Leila Schön has been on hunger strike since September 29th to protest the imprisonment of Alaa Abdel Fattah, a British Egyptian dual national who has been in prison in Egypt since September 2019. He was sentenced in December 2021 to 5 years in prison for spreading false news and should have been released last year. But Egyptian authorities refused to count the more than 2 years he had spent in pre-trial detention and ordered him held until January. On to your last story. With warmer than normal ocean waters, forecasters are expecting another unusually busy hurricane season for the Atlantic. But they don't think it will be as chaotic as what happened last year. Last year was the third costliest season on record, with killer storms such as Berlin, Helene and Milton. Thursday's hurricane season outlook from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration projects a 60% chance for an above normal season, a 30% chance it will be near normal, and only a 10% probability it will be quieter than average. The forecast calls for 13 to 19 named storms, with 6 to 10 becoming hurricanes. It projects 3 to 5 of those will reach major status, which means winds of more than 110 meters per hour. And that wraps up the Uprising feed.